Okay, so I would say that The Merchant of Venice has particular relevance to Malta in connection mainly with these two main themes. The first is racial prejudice, and the second is the creation of permanent minorities as a result of social exclusion. Shylock, the moneylender, is hated because he is a Jew. And I think that there's a lot of prejudice among us now in Malta, based simply on the fact that there are people who come from other countries, we call them immigrants, who are different from us. Different as a race, they have a different religion, a different culture, and of course the skin, the color of the skin is also different. So I find that there's a lot of prejudice based simply on this very simple fact that people who come here from Africa, for example, are black. And this play deals with that kind of problem. Obviously, it deals with anti-Semitism, which was rampant in Shakespeare's days, and unfortunately, it's a monster that's raising its head again, not particularly in Malta, but certainly in Europe, in other countries like Europe. So I think a director who is approaching that script, that's a text written for performance, right, like any other Shakespeare play, it's not meant primarily to be read, it's meant primarily to be acted and performed. So the director has this particular responsibility in connection with this play to present it in a way that makes sure that the audience doesn't read it as an anti-Semitic play. I don't think it is. I don't think that Shakespeare can be accused of anti-Semitism, because his views, obviously, do not necessarily correspond with the views of some of the characters in the play. As a matter of fact, in many speeches, on more than one occasion, he makes it quite clear that his sympathies lie with Shylock. Not in all the scenes, obviously, and one can argue about that. The final impact in the last scene, for example, one can discuss that at great length. But I feel that in the famous, for example, a speech which starts, "Hath not a Jew eyes," okay? In that famous speech, we are meant, obviously, by Shakespeare, to be on Shylock's side and not on the side of his persecutors, of the Christians. But it's not the only speech in the play which presents that point of view. For example, in his first appearance in Act 1, Scene 3, the first time we see Shylock, where he's been approached by Antonio and Bassanio to lend Antonio money, because then Antonio could help Bassanio visit his lover, Portia in Belmont, to go from Venice and to meet Portia in Belmont. These are the two main scenes of the play. The play travels between Belmont and Venice and back. Well, Antonio is there asking for money, and Shylock starts his speech in this way. "Signor Antonio, many a time and oft in the Rialto you have rated me about my monies and my usances. Still have I borne it with a patient shrug, for sufferance is the badge of all our tribe." I think that's very beautiful. And also he tells Antonio, he reminds him of all the insults he's had to receive and put up with. "You call me misbeliever, cutthroat dog, and spit upon my Jewish gabardine, and all for use of that which is mine own. Well then, it now appears you need my help. Go to then, you come to me, and you say, 'Shylock, we would have monies.' You say so, you that did void your room upon my beard, and foot me as you spurn a stranger cur over your threshold. Monies is your suit. What should I say? Should I not say, 'Hath a dog money?' Is it possible a cur can lend 3,000 ducats? Or shall I bend low, and in a bondsman's key, with bated breath and whispering humbleness, say this?" Well, as you say, Shylock is allowed to escape with his life. only on one condition, and it's a terrible condition, that he becomes a Christian. He loses half his fortune, but this is the sentence, that part of the judgment, which really upsets him, you see, and I show this in the production, okay? So a modern audience, Raphael, I think, will react to that sentence with disgust. They should, okay? And how does a director do that? If one is producing the play for the first time, like I am now, just by simply underlining, emphasizing, and highlighting the way in which Shylock reacts to that sentence. He's destroyed. He's completely destroyed. I mean, he says, "I'm not well, just let me go." Okay, and it's obvious that it's that last part of the sentence, okay, that upsets him so much. Okay, because how can you imagine this? Imposing a religion on somebody who doesn't agree with it, okay? A forced conversion, as it were. It is, after all, the judgment of a Venetian court, a court of Christians, the Christian majority, imposing an unjust sentence, a terrible sentence, on a minority of aliens, and that's how I direct it.